Well, greetings, YouTube. It's another video that the idea is to be fast and brief, but you know how that goes. Somebody said somebody told me my mind is like a Hot Wheel track, and I didn't know if he meant because it was cool and all over the place. I don't know. Well connected. Just kidding. I get a lot of, or I've been getting a lot of messages, private messages from cops. A lot of young cops that I don't know, and I've been off the job for a long time. It's no secret that I'm retired LAPD, so I get a lot of young guys and girls, officers, who are very concerned, and in many cases, understandably, I mean, in most cases, about the whole Christopher Dorton incident, and they're concerned on a number of levels, not the least of which is the potential for copycats and, whatever. But I think a lot of stress, for lack of a better word, or confusion on the part of the officers is this sense that Darden had this massive amount of support. I mean, I haven't really looked at any of these specific sites, but I've heard on the news, and, because we all know the news is so accurate, but I've heard on the news and on Twitter and such that there are Facebook pages that are like pro Christopher Darden. Am I saying his name right? Whatever. But they're supporting him, and they're calling for LA Riots 3, and, let's finish the job. Let's get the list of officers that he has. So there's this ominous threat coming from not just one guy that's a disgruntled employee turned murderer, but open threats pretty much to just indiscriminate police officers. And so I just want to comment, the fact that I say all the time makes me, the fact that I even point out the fact that I say the fact that I'm even going to consider leaving the fact that I point out the fact that I say in this video makes me think that perhaps I need help. You've got to understand, and this is really going out to mostly the young cop. And when I say young, I'm talking about, within the first 5 or 10 years. You haven't been around long enough to no offense, but take it for what it's worth. I'm not going to clean it up and give you all kinds of disclaimers. Nobody wants to be hated, and you've all heard that it's not you that they hate personally. It's the badge, it's the city, it's the authority, and certainly that's logically true because they don't know you. How could they hate you? This guy didn't know the people he killed, but he hated what they represented. In my own opinion, it was a large part of that anger, if you were to digress or drill deep into it, and I'm not a psychologist by any stretch, but I think that it really comes down to a very basic element of jealousy, a constant reminder of what he wasn't. He had said earlier that not to get into him, but he is the propulsion system for this whole thing, the catalyst of this video. Every time he sees a police car, he feels slighted by the whole concept of law enforcement. And I know this from my own experience, not in a hostile way, but when I left the police department, I was forced to leave because of a serious injury that they don't have light duty positions for my injury. For about 2 solid years, I would look away when I saw a police car, especially out west. I see a black and white, or if some police thing came on the news, I'd flip the channel immediately. I stayed away from all police reality shows, cops, anything, because it cut my very soul. I mean, this was very much like what he said. This was my dream, and I had planned on being there for as long as they would allow me to be there. I would have done that job for free, is how much I loved that job. And so to have to leave under any circumstances was gut-wrenching and very hurtful. So, I can at least empathize with that. The difference between him, Chris Darden, and myself and other people that leave the job under one circumstance or another is that we didn't pick up rifles and go out and start assassinating people that were doing the job that we wanted to do and were upset that we couldn't do. Say hi. Hello. So to you guys, to you young folks out there that are risking your lives every day, consider the mindset of the people that would support a guy like him. 99.9% of anybody on the internet in any capacity that's supporting this dude absolutely despises law enforcement and has always hated cops, which means that they have always hated Christopher Darden. I'm getting the feeling I'm pronouncing his name wrong, but if I am, you know what I'm talking about. So think of the hypocrisy and the weakness of where they stand, of their own so-called convictions. By his own words on the internet, being a cop was his lifelong dream. That's what he wanted to do. So he was everything that they supposedly hate. Now, the fact that he turns, he goes sideways and starts targeting law enforcement, now suddenly he's a hero to these people. What does that tell you about anybody that would support him? And that includes all you disgusting upper middle class people holding up signs, we support. You guys make me the sickest of all, because where are you coming from? Where are you? That's ridiculous. How about holding up a sign saying you support the families of the people that he murdered, that he'd never even, met? You're going to support a cause. Why don't you make it something that is, semi-important? But back to the subject. These people that support him are the very people that would hate him and hated him when he wore the uniform and did what he always wanted to do. Once he turns into a bad guy, a non-law abiding person willing to commit felonies, now they like him. Anybody that has any like for this guy, 75 to 90% of them have probably been in jail, and they're pissed off. They'll just side with anybody that happens to be a criminal, because they are either criminals or criminals in their heart. Think like criminals, but don't have the guts to go out and commit the crimes. So these are the lowest form of society, any way you look at it. And to give the lowest form of society any credence and allow them affect your own personal feelings and experience self-doubt about your career choice or what you're doing would be like giving a shit about what some serial rapist thinks of you and your relationship with your wife. You got to learn to shine it on. It doesn't matter. 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 In the grand scheme of things, the only thing that matters are you, your family, and what your thoughts about what you're doing are. Are you doing the right thing? I'm not going to sit here and lecture you about the virtues of being a good cop. You're already a good cop, or you wouldn't be watching this. I've said this a million times. People, if anybody watching this video has not seen my other video called F the Police, please stop this and go watch that. That one lays it out a little bit more. And I uploaded that the day before this whole shooting thing started, or this whole incident thing. I didn't even know who this guy was. It's a total coincidence. But that covers a lot of my own experiences in terms of why people feel the way they do about cops. You don't see them holding all school bus drivers accountable if one of them goes crazy and fucking starts raping goats or something. It's just cops, and that's because of there's an infatuation with law enforcement and with first responders in general, firefighters, pilots. People that have unique jobs and positions where they can affect a lot of people are interesting to those that sit in cubicles all day, and there's nothing wrong with that. I totally get it. Police work is interesting to me, and it's all I've ever done in my whole adult life. So, just keep things in perspective, and I'll end the video now. If you have any specific questions, ask them. If you want me to talk about something in a little bit more detail, I'll try my best to meet that request. Stay safe out there, and I, for one, and I know that I'm supported by a lot of people, appreciate what it is you do.